When we think about national heroes, we usually picture these scholars, these statesmen, right? But the story of how a nation gets its freedom, well, it's rarely written by just one kind of person. In the Philippines, the path to independence was really forged by two very different types of heroes. You had the scholar, and then you had the revolutionary. This is the story of the revolutionary.
So, on one hand, you've got the intellectual, the writer, who uses the power of the pen to wake up an entire nation's conscience. But on the other hand, you have the man of action, the revolutionary, who believes freedom isn't given, it has to be taken with a sword. And this is his story.
Our story doesn't start in some grand university or on a wealthy estate. Nope. It begins in the crowded, working-class streets of Tondo in Manila. And it was right here that a life of constant struggle would forge a will for freedom that was absolutely unbreakable.
And this is where we meet Andrés Bonifacio. His story doesn't start with any kind of privilege or opportunity. Not at all. It starts with the harsh reality of poverty, a reality that plugged him directly into the suffering of the everyday Filipino people under Spanish rule.
And things got tough for him, really early on. Tragedy struck. He lost his parents, which meant his childhood was basically over before it even had a chance to begin. All this responsibility was just thrust upon him, not by choice, but by pure necessity.
And this right here is so important to get. Long before he was leading a revolution, he was leading his family. He worked, he provided for them, he fought for their survival every single day. That experience taught him a lesson that no book ever could: the profound importance of fighting for the people who depend on you.
But here's the thing about Bonifacio. He never saw the inside of a university. He was completely self-taught. He would just devour books about history, about the French Revolution, educating himself by lamplight after a long, hard day's work. His real classroom, the streets, and his library was his own relentless curiosity.
So because he was living among the masses, Bonifacio saw the daily cruelty of Spanish rule up close, firsthand. He saw that writing letters and politely asking for reforms just wasn't cutting it. He felt deep down that the time for talk was over. Something different had to be done.
So, what did he do? He created the Katipunan, and its full name is a mouthful. Kataas-taasang kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan, which means the highest and most honorable society of the children of the nation. Now, this wasn't some political party asking for a seat at the table. Oh no, this was a secret brotherhood of patriots with one single radical goal: total and complete independence from Spain. Nothing less would do. And the Katipunan didn't recruit from the wealthy elite. Its strength came from the ground up. Bonifacio welcomed farmers, laborers, workers, the very people who felt the sting of oppression the most. He gave a voice, and yeah, a weapon, to the forgotten people. Okay, so for years, the Katipunan is this secret society, right? Operating in the shadows. But secrets like that, they can't be kept forever. A moment was coming when that secret had to be shouted from the rooftops, a moment of pure defiance that was about to change the course of history. And just look at how fast things exploded. In August of 1896, Bonifacio and his followers all gather together. They take out their Spanish-issued resident certificates, their cédulas, which were basically symbols of their submission to Spain, and they tore them to pieces. This wasn't just some protest. This was a declaration of war. But just as the revolution starts picking up steam, a new enemy emerges. And this enemy was far more dangerous than the Spanish because it came from within. The unity that had fueled this whole rebellion, it started to crack under the pressure of ambition and politics. So you have to ask, right? Who was Bonifacio's greatest enemy? You'd think the answer is obvious: the Spanish colonizers. But the tragic irony of Bonifacio's story is so much more complicated than that. The biggest threat to the father of the revolution wasn't a foreign power at all. It was his own countrymen. It's shocking, I know. Political rivalries, a power struggle for who would lead the very revolution he started, that's what led to his downfall. The terrible irony is that the man who united the masses to fight a common enemy was ultimately destroyed by division within his own ranks. In the end, it was just so swift and brutal. The founder of the Katipunan was accused of treason, arrested by his fellow revolutionaries, and then, in 1897, executed. He didn't die on a battlefield fighting for his country. He died betrayed by the revolution he had created. You know, for a while there, it looked like his story might just get buried, his name tarnished by all of it. But history has a funny way of finding the truth.
And despite a truly tragic and unjust end, Andrés Bonifacio's legacy was just too powerful to be erased.
His life is this powerful testament to a simple idea: heroism isn't about how much money you have or what school you went to. It only requires love for your country. Heroes aren't defined by their diplomas, they're defined by their courage.
And that's why today, Bonifacio remains this incredible symbol of the ordinary Filipino who dared to dream of freedom and was willing to make the ultimate sacrifice to get it. He is, and always will be, the courageous voice of the people.
So, that brings us right back to where we started, doesn't it? The Philippines needed both. It needed Jose Rizal, the genius, to awaken the nation's mind. And it absolutely needed Andrés Bonifacio, the warrior, to awaken its spirit to actually fight. Two very different paths, but one shared goal: freedom.
And that just leaves us with this one last thought to chew on. What really makes a hero? Is it the idea, or is it the action? The pen or the sword? The one who inspires the revolution, or the one who leads it? Maybe true heroism isn't about having to choose one over the other, but recognizing that a nation really needs both to truly be free.